Cinema powerhouse Robert De Niro has given us some truly memorable performances for the ages, spanning all the way back to the 1970s, starting with Martin Scorsese's Mean Streets. And let's be honest, the guy clearly understands batshit crazy.
I'm my lawyer! I dare you! Will you leave that fucking...
Mr. De Niro has some insane range, especially in the nutjob department. We're talking great films such as Raging Bull, Taxi Driver, Cape Fear, Untouchables, King of Comedy, Mean Streets, and This Boy's Life. But there is one film in particular overlooked in his filmography, a film that creeps along the uncharted path of unseen territory to most. This is 1996's The Fan, directed by the late Tony Scott, and stars not just De Niro, but Wesley Snipes, Benicio del Toro, Ellen Barkin, and John Leguizamo. The Fan centers around one man's downfall and downward spiral into psychotic obsession towards San Francisco Giants outfielder Bobby Rayburn. While we truly appreciate De Niro's acting roles such as Max Cady, Travis Bickle, Rupert Pupkin, and Chicago gangster Al Capone, does Gil Renard belong alongside these other all-time great movie foils? So it's me, Paul Booksaber, aka Paulie Books, and let's dive in.
Before we continue with our video, here's a reminder to click the Store tab on any of our JoBlo channels and browse our collection of the latest and freshest designs in our merch store. Go get you some.
The Fan was adapted from the book of the same name written by Peter Abrahams. The book was intriguing enough that Mandalay Entertainment and TriStar Pictures developed a script, and directorial duties were given to Ridley Scott's brother Tony Scott. Tony Scott created some great films such as Enemy of the State, Man on Fire, Top Gun, and Crimson Tide. Unfortunately, Tony Scott died in 2012 due to suicide. His family revealed he was battling cancer and underwent lengthy treatments to subdue the disease. While Tony was known for delivering classics like Man on Fire, starring Denzel Washington, or the original Top Gun with Tom Cruise, The Fan is a great addition to Scott's filmography.
Away, Bobby!
Even if you need to suspend disbelief in certain situations of the movie. Even so, it's Scott's directing that makes De Niro's unhinged performance have some serious legs throughout the film's runtime.
Come on, let's play some fucking baseball!
Knife salesman Gil Renard resides in San Francisco, currently in a custody battle with his wife over their son Richie. Gil is also an avid Giants fan, and even more excited that his favorite baseball player Bobby Rayburn has been traded to the team with a $40 million contract attached to his name. Pretty lucrative in 1996. But pure peanuts by today's contract standards in Major League Baseball. Gil travels around the San Francisco area in his beat-up van, trying to get some sales and diverting unwanted attention from his boss Garrity, due to Gil's knife sales being too soft. Gil also tries to make the most of his time with his son Richie, only being allowed limited visitation rights by his ex-wife. I like how the film portrays his wife as a total bitch, seeing Gil as a normal person at the start of the film, but let's just say my judgments were completely wrong. The film convinces us that Gil's to himself, reserved and a know-it-all about all things baseball, and most importantly, his favorite player Bobby Rayburn. It also seems he's a caring father who just wants to spend time with his son. The beginning few scenes assert our comfortability with Gil, a pretty standard blue-collar guy looking to make ends meet, trying to make up for lost time with his son, and attending his favorite players' baseball games. But we couldn't be more wrong as things start to fracture. While we may have sided with Gil and appreciate his knowledge for the game during his phone call with Ellen Barkin's radio personality Jewel, it's when his potential sales meetings with clients go south. While one of his clients asks for kayaks instead of knives, this causes Gil to have an unhinged outburst.
How about you get some kayaks and stick them up your fucking ass, you moron.
The other inadvertently causes him to leave his son at the Giants baseball game so he can close a deal in between innings. The receptionist informs Gil that his client left so he too could be at Giants opening day. Not only does Gil eventually lose a sale, but he technically just lost his son for good in the process due to having him open to being kidnapped in the stands. He also loses his job, forcing him to lose his apartment in the process. Not a good week for Gil, that's for sure. While Gil may have some ill-tempered behavior shouting at baseball fans, or pushing his ex-wife down to the floor, or even stabbing his boss's car hood with one long-ass blade, we truly didn't scratch the surface to Gil's deranged behavior, but we'll get to that. With De Niro, he commands to switch demeanors at the crack of a whip, and that's a testament to his talent. Funny enough, Jack Nicholson was originally eyed to be Gil Renard, as well as the man playing Bobby Rayburn himself, Wesley Snipes. Now that Gil is unemployed and learned to take up bug extermination via knife throws, he turns his true sights to stalking and obsessing over his favorite player, Bobby Rayburn. Rayburn came from the Atlanta Braves and is now sharing Giants fandom with another outfielder, Juan Primo, who is played by Benicio del Toro. Del Toro, who at the time was just starting to get his legs in the Hollywood circuit, has now become an A-lister himself. Del Toro does a wonderful job playing Primo. The problem between these two men is the number 11, which Rayburn represented throughout his career, and is considered his lucky number. Think of Michael Jordan's 23, or Shaquille O'Neal's 34, or even Derek Jeter's number 2. These numbers represent a player's aura within the sport, and a player's legacy that came with it. Primo is the current holder to number 11, which results in a power struggle of sorts between these two men. You have them arguing, which then leads to a battle royale inside a club bathroom. Gil is hiding in the bathroom stall, viewing the ceiling's reflective mirror. Kind of odd that there's a mirror like that in a men's bathroom, but whatever. Well, leave it to Gil to dispatch Primo with a well-placed knife to Primo's artery inside a hotel sauna. Problem solved, Mr. Rayburn. You got your number back thanks to your good old pal Gil. While Mr. Rayburn enjoys his time playing for the Giants, he doesn't know who is obsessing and watching him every game. Crazy to believe this movie hits hard to those celebrities and musicians and athletes who have dealt with crazed fan incidents around the world, or even on their own properties. The fan gives good insight into this real-life component. Gil stalks Bobby not just from the stands every game, or even the bars, or from the arena gates, but also from a hill overlooking his beach house. It's only when the family dog throws Bobby's son Sean off his wakeboard and the multiple waves cause him to submerge to the ocean floor below. This leaves Gil to take advantage of the situation. Gil dives in and saves Bobby's son before he could get to him. Once Gil and Sean make it to the beach, Bobby takes Gil in, but Gil calls himself Curly to throw him off due to prior phone calls they shared during a live radio exchange through Jewel. Bobby knows the voice sounds awfully familiar, but he can't put a finger on it until his son is kidnapped, along with the family dog. How cruel of Gil. This is all in part to Bobby trashing the fans, calling most of them losers, while sharing a beer with Gil in his kitchen. To top it off, Gil asks Bobby if he was happier that Primo was dead. Bobby rejects Gil, and tells him he's not happy at all, even when Bobby is playing at the top of his game after the death of Primo. Gil feels betrayed, considering he killed Primo for him so that he could start playing back to a peak performance. Gil leaves a chunk of Primo's shoulder in the fridge for Bobby, which had the tattoo of number 11 on it. Gil then decides to meet up with his old friend Coop. Gil would always talk about Coop to his son about their time of playing baseball together. He considered Coop a know-it-all of the game and ambassador to the sport. Funny thing though, Gil's friendship with Coop was only during Little League, and they lost touch right after that. When Coop gets Sean away from Gil and makes him jump a fence to flee out of harm's way, Gil smashes Coop's head with a baseball bat, reminiscent of his role in The Untouchables with that famous baseball bat scene. Unfortunately for Sean, the chase ends when a train blocks off his escape route, resulting in a blood-drenched Gil to catch up and take him again. Since we got a pretty good taste of Gil's theatrics in the crazy department, his grand crescendo is one for the ages. Bobby has a baseball game that night, and Gil's demands are simple. Hit a home run for me and dedicate it to me for being the ultimate fan. If Bobby doesn't comply with these demands, Gil will kill his son Sean. Gil makes his way into the stadium with the cops and feds on his tail, of course. You'd think arena security was better with the killer on the loose, but I digress. Throughout the game, Bobby has either hit some warning track shots or struck out, and he has one last shot to save his son. Thanks some good melodramatic rain to potentially call off the game, or the pitcher walking him, resulting in some good stakes at play. When Bobby hits a danger off the wall, he decides to run for an inside-the-park home run. What clearly looks like being called safe results in Bobby to be called out by the umpire. Crazy thing though, the umpire is actually Gil, who probably disposed the original umpire during the rain delay. The scene is awesome, albeit hard to believe. Bobby throws a nice haymaker, but Gil gets a knife impalement to Bobby's shoulder for good measure. Some players are killed and the cops circle around the suspect near the mound. Gil asks Bobby,
Bobby! Now do you care? Just a little bit.
He wants Bobby to confess he's happy that Primo's dead, but Bobby doesn't answer. Gil is about to throw a knife at Bobby, but the cops kill him with about 10 bullets to De Niro. De Niro's acting is unbelievable here, going from nutty to sympathetic to sad within a few seconds. Gil hints to Bobby where Sean is before dying from his wounds. It's a devastating, intense scene that I can never get out of my head when it comes to De Niro's greatest hits. You kinda feel for Gil, as he was a man who lost it all by the end of the movie, which led him down a path of inconceivable evil deeds. But let's make it clear, Gil is clearly nuts. The Fan is a movie I play back every so often due to the way Tony Scott showcases the bad side of fandom. It has some hard-to-believe scenes that are backed by the performance of De Niro, which give the film some definite weight. The supporting cast do their best here as well to keep the thriller train going. The Fan grossed $42 million globally and was considered an all-time flop to most critics and audiences alike. Although I disagree strongly, to me this goes right alongside De Niro's work as Max Cady in Cape Fear or Travis Bickle in Taxi Driver. De Niro does unhinge greatly to the point of unnerving. I would recommend giving this movie playback if you haven't done so, just to analyze De Niro's acting skills in several scenes here, from the neck cracking to the serious stare downs and schizophrenic changes in personality. It's the total package from De Niro. The movie has aged for some time. It's still nice to know it has repeat value. It's got some Michael Douglas falling down meets a screwed up version of Jim Carrey's Cable Guy. Sure, we get a different level of unhinged here from De Niro, but it's as if Max Cady and Gil Renard are brothers. Cady's a little more vicious in my eyes though. I mean, who could forget that handcuffing scene, or the climax on the boat towards the end of the film? For those who haven't seen The Fan, it's a solid thriller with some incredibly intense moments from a late and talented director that flies under everyone's radar. It doesn't hurt that the film also centers around baseball, and it's done with a complete respect for the game. Check it out if you haven't already done so.